How much do you believe the individual drive and talent and natural skills of your sons played into their success? Because you were doing and raising them all the same way.
It played 25%. What's built would always outlast what's born.
This is you at the U.S. Open. This is you. Good serious motion.
Boom!
And Sammy shoots a high fly out into left center. And it's Ken Griffey Jr. taking the play away from his father.
Now, well hit to center field. Devon White going back. Gone! A two-run home run. And he hits one well to left center field. Dante Bichette. Back-to-back home run.
There's very little on this planet, if anything, that can make a man happier than to see his child, of whom he's raised, his own flesh and blood, instilled discipline in, trained through daytime and night, through hot times and cold, finally see success before his own eyes. And so, of course, in an environment where families are staying together less than ever before, and it is more tenuous than ever to retain your control as a father, it's no surprise that more and more men are looking to alternative methods to try and make sure that they can preserve that relationship because, like I said, there's very little better than to see your child be successful in front of you because of you and your discipline as a father.
Here is my question, and me and Channing, we talked about this recently because we were saying about how you want to see your children succeed at the thing they want to do. Mm-hmm. You have 3 boys, all of which were Power 4 college football players, all of which had varying NFL success, right? Equiminius, when you look at him, if you walk them all in here, I'd say that one's probably the best. He's the tallest, he's the biggest, but Amon-Ra is going to be a Hall of Famer. How much do you believe the individual drive and talent and natural skills of your sons played into their success? Because you were doing and raising them all the same way.
It played 25%. What's built would always outlast what's born. Let me say it again. What's built will always outlast what's born. In the 70s, the best athlete made it. Nowadays, you got guys who are not as good as that athlete, but they put in that work, they're taking their jobs.
I like these kinds of conversations because they don't focus necessarily on the fact that he's a black man that is an athletic specimen, but it speaks about that important relationship that comes from that father being in that young boy's life and shaping him into not just the man he's going to be as an athlete, but into the distinct disciplined practices that are going to make him be able to outcompete even people that are more athletic than him. This is something that often is left out of conversations when it comes to black men because of so many jokes about black men not being fathers. But this is a father who has several very successful boys, and he's giving you the blueprint on how to be a good father. And of course, the first part of it is the father has to be there and he has to have control.
You got guys who are not as good as that athlete, but they put in that work, they're taking their jobs. You got to put that work in.
Do you care more that they remember the system you built or the belief that you had in them?
All that. Once you ingrain it in them, it is what they are. It is the way they move in life. I train my kids not to be competitive, to dominate. I try to instill the good things in my kids, to tell them how to think, how to turn them into, lack of a better term, monsters, Doberman pinchers. So we go out there, we dominate kids. Don't teach your kids how to compete. Don't be competitive. What is that? Dominate them. If you don't dominate them, you ain't doing it right.
This is the beautiful thinking that comes from a father who, one, wants to see his children succeed, but also a father that is preparing his kids to go out into a very ruthless world and not just compete in it, but be successful in it. Often when your children get taken from you and they end up with the mother is preparing the child for the way that she hopes the world is, and that if things get too tough, you can start crying, or you could just point at the right person and they're going to come and save you from the reality of the world. But what a father instills in a kid, and more particularly a boy, is that, listen, that world out there is rough, is rugged, and if you want to compete in it, you're going to need a certain mindset. And if you have the right mindset, there's nobody that can stop you. It's something that often we don't celebrate as much in the black community because, unfortunately, whatever, people have narratives, but here is on full display. Fathers saying, listen, you're a Doberman Pinscher. Go eat. I taught you the rules. I taught you the discipline. Go get them. And it's beautiful to listen to.
Dominate them. If you don't dominate them, you ain't doing it right. Again, we're talking about trying to be number one in the world, not number two. And pick the right sports. Don't do swimming or something stupid like that. You know? What's wrong with parents? You know why they do that? Because they don't believe in their kids. Look at WNBA. I bet there's a handful of girls, more than a handful, that could have played the professional tennis and made a lot of money. They're great athletes. Mom and dad didn't push them right. It comes down to mom and dad. I was self-made, but I'm the exception, not the rule. It comes down to mom and dad. I gave up everything. Nothing mattered to me. I met a gentleman the other day. He came to me and says, I need to talk to you. I got a problem. I go, what's the problem? He says, I'm telling my son to do the things you were telling him, but my wife is saying that I'm living vicariously through my son. My wife is saying, because I didn't make it, I'm too hard on my son, trying to push my son too hard. No, don't listen to that. Look, I was lucky, my wife never said that. It comes down to mom and dad. I had a mission with my kids. And if you're on that mission, I don't care if your wife is acting crazy, talking bad, saying that you're living vicariously through your kid, you just doing this because you didn't make it, let her say it. You gotta just take the bullets. As a dad, take all them bullets. Don't say anything. Stay on the mission. Don't ever lose sight of the mission. That's important. It comes down to mom and dad.
When he says it comes down to mom and dad, that is one of the most touchy subjects of modern day family formation and child rearing, because how do you ensure that you're going to be able to co-parent for a 15, 18-year span with a steady wife there? The statistics show that, especially in the black community, you got 5-7 years max, and then you are dealing with two parents in two different homes. And so how do you do that? First of all, you do it with finding someone that's going to stay and let you have control in raising your children.
Some of y'all might never heard. You ever heard of the Baby Nump?
Yeah, yep.
Because my lawyer approached me with that too as well. You know what I'm saying? Like where you can set out the outlines of how you want to have this baby, and you can do it in court. It's almost like putting yourself on paper. You know what I'm saying? But prehand, before the baby is had, you get to X out all the terms of how you want to handle the situation, what you're willing to pay for. You outline the money and everything before you even had a child.
Regardless of how you feel about a baby nump or what should be the case, really this conversation just sheds light on the modern situation in terms of modern dating and trying to have access to your kids. When you have a split up, a marriage or whatnot, and there are some poor feelings there, then you're going to go through some legal issues as to how you're going to see that kid, how much you're going to see that kid, and if that woman is going to cooperate with you. And so if it's going to be litigious, let's just make it litigious from the start. And regardless of what happens, I'm going to get on this piece of paper how much I'm going to see my child, how much money I'm going to pay you, and I'm going to be able to have control over raising my child, regardless if you are here, if you leave, if we're married, or if we're not. Welcome to modernity.
Where you can set out the outlines of how you want to have this baby, and you can do it in court. It's almost like putting yourself on paper. You know what I'm saying? But prehand, before the baby is had, you get to X out all the terms of how you want to handle the situation, what you're willing to pay for. You outline the money and everything before you even had a child.
Yep. You're anti-marriage, just not on paper.
I'm anti you being able to take half of my life to work and meet me at 40 years old right now and then think you're entitled to half of whatever I've done. I'm anti that.
But you'll do the ring and the ceremony, just not the paperwork.
No, for sure. I want to make a woman happy. I just don't want to cry about it if her feelings makes her decide she don't want to be with me no more. But I'm very transparent.
Are you capable of monogamy?
No, never.
He's not laughing.
But one thing I need you to know is that I never want to live together. I like my alone time.
But is that real?
That's real.
Oh, wait, are you speaking as Kiki?
Yeah,
right
I'm
now?
speaking as
She's
Kiki. I just feel like, you know, Whoopi Goldberg said it best once. She was like, I don't want nobody in my house.
Yeah. Wait,
And I just feel that.
Time out. You're for real right
I'm
now?
she's for real.
So what
marry
about, like,
even. Marry even.
So you're gonna live around the corner?
Around the corner would be great. We can be in a guest house, you know what I'm saying? We can be on the same, you know, land, but I'm over there and he's over there.
Yeah.
At best, separate room.
Like I said before, don't be so quick to judge men that are speaking about having baby numps when you're hearing more and more women essentially say that they don't even want to live in the same house with their husband. So you can imagine once things get kind of difficult, she already has one foot out the door. And all she has to do is just finalize the divorce and say, oh, by the way, I want full custody of the kid, and your plans are ruined. I mean, imagine trying to start a family on this premise.
So what about, you know, you go to the bathroom, you have the 2 toothbrushes.
Think about how fun it would be to be like, I'm going over to my man's house.
Yeah. Over there.
Get over there.
You know,
It's
right.
It's fun and exciting. I want to go sit on his couch.
And he better clean when you're coming over.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what? I will say I'm laughing about it, but there are probably people watching right now who agree with you. Oh man, I said the 2 toothbrushes and she's like, no.
This is modernity. And so if you are a man and you would like to have control in your child's life, you're going to have to think outside the box in this kind of environment, because you know what happens when she wakes up one day and says, I'm bored and I'm leaving. It could be a kid's worst nightmare. It could be a father's nightmare.
That's my son, bro. How old you is? Your name Quantum? What? They call you Quantum?
That's him.
They call me
That
Q.
is cute. That's cute.
What's up, bro? I'm your dad, bro. What? I'm Wayne, bro. I've been looking for you, bro. I ain't gonna lie, you ain't did shit. I've been shit. They fucked over us, bro.
Damn.
You never did shit for me though. Yes, I did. Where you been though? Yes, I did.
What you did?
Where you been though? Where you been though? Want me to tell you?
Where you was at?
Want me to tell you? You walked out my life. No. I'm there, bro. I'm there. How you there?
Where?
They trying to control my pockets, bro. Control my pockets and me. For sure. I did what a father's supposed to do, bro. Cause I was looking for you though. I did what a father's supposed to do, bro. I was looking for you though, brother. I did what I did. I was looking for my dad, bro. Listen, I've been on with you. I was looking for my dad. I did what a father's supposed to do, bro. Supposed to do, bro. That's being real with you, bro.
By today's standards, we would have easily written this man off as a deadbeat dad. You can hear it in the son speaking with the father, that the programming that he got was that your father left us high and dry. He's no good. He's deadbeat. And when he finally meets his father, he's getting the other side of the story. You can see that he wanted to be with his father. You can see that the father wanted to be with him. But if the woman can essentially wake up one day and say, you're going to pay me X amount of money or you're going to end up in jail, that is a very difficult situation to be put in as a father. You don't know how much money that's going to be. You don't know what percentage of that check is going to be. And you don't know how much access you're going to have to your son. Heck, sometimes you may not even know if the son is yours. But it's in that environment that you have guys talking about baby numps. And rightly so. What man wants to see his lost potential standing in front of him, almost disavowing his existence? Because he heard for 20 years everything about his father that was not true, and the father never had a chance to properly father his child.
You know, and so in terms of the helicopter dad, I heard that tiger moms and all this stuff here. Look, that goes in one ear and out the other. Everyone, at least most people on the planet, agree and accept that kids have to go to school at an early age, 5, 6, 7. You make them go to school. You helicopter them. Most kids don't want to go to school, but we all support that. You know what? No talking, no discussion. You're going to school, period. And no one called them helicopters. It's the same thing with sports. You got to just stay on top of it.
This is the simple reasoning of a man that understands what his kids are going to need in the world moving forward. If a man is with a woman that does not give him the authority to instill the kind of discipline that his kids are going to need to not just go into the world and be successful, but to excel, then the kid is going to actually be the one that's going to suffer the consequences of that. And so when you start hearing guys talk about wanting to have different arrangements, like baby numps or just trying to get around this idea that they're not going to have control in their kid's life, that is a serious election issue, really. When you hear many of these politicians talking about getting families back together and all of these principles and ideals of how to reinstill family values, look, the best way to do that is legally with policy. And until that policy is there that says that man has just as much or more right to that kid than the mother does, you're going to start seeing guys come up with all kinds of different situations because the writing is on the wall. If you want your kids to be successful, if you want to watch your daughter dancing on the court at the US Open, as a father, you have to have access to her. If you want to see your son running in front of you, catching a fly ball, you need to be in that boy's life every day, watching him wake up and telling him what time to get up, when to do his homework, when to practice, how to eat, all of that, and be with someone that's going to acquiesce or let you do that, or don't have that person there in the first place. What you can have is someone that takes that child away from you, tells that child that you're not a proper father, and then you can't be the kid's father and you watch the child fail. No man wants to see that for his child. And so until somebody finds out a better way to even out the odds for these women walking away with these kids, you're going to get more different ways of men trying to beat this rigged game so that they can raise some kids that can dominate. Because that's what all fathers want from their kids in the first place. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. I'll catch you next video. Take care, guys.